So if you're on the same side of BookTube and BookTok as I am, you're probably wondering if a Kindle is worth it at all, especially as a physical or even phone and iPad reader. You're probably wondering if it's worth the price, the hassle, the experience, the hype. You know, those are very valid questions, and I gotta tell you, as a former physical book reader turned iPad reader, now turned Kindle reader, I gotta say, in my opinion, it's pretty worth it. And I'm just gonna give you a few reasons on why I love my Kindle so much as I show you a video of me attempting to refresh my Kindle. I ended up having to scotch tape it down later because quite literally after that video, everything came tumbling down once I lifted my MagSafe magnet because it was not secure. So I'll also show you the after photo. But I will go through the different reasons on why I love my Kindle and a couple pros and cons into getting a Kindle. So first off, like I said, I am a former physical book reader. Don't get me wrong, I have physical books. Like I have a whole tower of physical books, and I am looking to get a whole book system to house my physical books. So it's not that I don't read them, but I like having the choice of different mediums. So I like having a physical book, but as you can see, even for this is a thick boy. This is a thick and chunky book. Okay, and yes, it's like the perfect amount of floppy. Don't get me wrong. That's why this is a great paperback to read on physically. But in terms of convenience of reading a physical book, sometimes it's a little bit inconvenient. Personally for me, I am a very big nighttime reader. Most times I can read undisturbed at night in the comfort of my own bed. And sometimes it's just not convenient to have a book clip light. Like I can't find mine anymore, but I used to have one where it clipped, and every single time I flipped the page, it would be just like that. It would kind of like protrude out like that. Not as extreme as this, but it would kind of protrude out like that, and it would kind of make the reading experience not so ideal. Not saying I didn't read still, despite that, which I did, but you know, it's a little bit less inconvenient when you have a book clip. I also even have like a headlamp, which I put on as like a headband, and then it's like a flashlight, kind of like bikers use at night, and that also works too. But you know, if you're going to sleep, you fall asleep while you're reading, and you have a blinding light, and you live with other people, or if you live with pets, it is a little bit inconvenient for them as well. Or if you have a lamp, you can also do that too. But sometimes it's just nice to read in the pitch dark with just your Kindle. It's super thin and light, so even if you don't have a pop socket, you know, you could just lay there and just read, and you're just tapping the screen. You can control the different warmths on it. So if you want warm light so you don't get like the blue light before you go to bed, that's definitely a possibility. So the number one thing is definitely convenience of actually reading it, but also carrying it around. So I love having a book with me at all times, and I'm also like a bagoo girly. So I have a bagoo. This could definitely fit in a bagoo. Don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. This can definitely fit in a bagoo, but do I want this in a bagoo? No, I don't, because this is heavy. It's weighing me down, and it leaves less room for other stuff for me to hold and carry in my bag. So just having this in my bag has been super nice because I just literally slip it into the pocket and I'm good to go. And it fits honestly in a lot of different bags. I used to have a smaller bag and it would fit in there as well. Sometimes it fits in my pocket, and it's just really nice to have with me at all times because I'm the type of reader that also reads whenever I have time. So if I'm literally in a line at a grocery store, I'll read. I'll pop out my Kindle and read. If I'm at a baseball game in between innings, which I have totally done when I was on my Toronto trip, I have brought out my Kindle despite people making jokes about it. I was having the time of my life, kicking my feet, reading Divine Rivals while I was waiting for, you know, someone to come with the food to enjoy the baseball game. There are just so many different use cases that you would have with the Kindle, and I genuinely love having my Kindle with me at all times. Like literally always with me everywhere and anywhere. And also too, if you don't get car sick, unfortunately I cannot partake in this, but if you don't get car sick, this is the perfect thing for a long road trip, or even like if you're going on a cruise, airplane ride. I love reading my Kindle on an airplane because it's so convenient to bring this instead of a stack of books. Because downloading on here, you could download hundreds of books on here, and you only have to bring this one thing. If you bring physical books, you have to plan out which books you're gonna bring. And imagine bringing like 3 books, you don't like any of them, you're not in the mood for any of them, you're stuck with them. And having that Kindle just gives you that option and that convenience. So that's my number one thing about having this Kindle, is the convenience of just reading on here. here. Also, another thing is that if you're primarily an e-reader on your phone or an iPad or tablet, this Kindle, it saved my eyes. I chronically read on my phone and also on my iPad all the time, and honestly, after maybe a few months of doing that, it severely, my eyes hurt all the time, just because the screen, honestly, I feel like the biggest reason is the screen. When you're looking at the screen for that long, your eyes tend to strain, and you just don't want that, you know? And with the the ink screen, I forget what the technology term for it is, I'll put it somewhere on the screen, but the e-reader ink, it's different than an actual screen, so it reads like actual paper, so it doesn't strain your eyes as much. Of course, if you're gonna be on here for like hours and hours reading, then of course your eyes will still strain, just like if you read hours and hours of a book. But it takes a lot more to strain your eyes on a Kindle than it would an e-reader like an iPad, tablet, or phone. So yeah, that's another big perk about having the Kindle. I would also say, in my experience, having a Kindle also helped me save money and save time. So this goes into a little bit of a two-part explanation. So saving money, I would say on a Kindle, you can technically still save money the same way on a Kindle as you would other e-readers, but just having the convenience on your Kindle just makes it a lot better, especially because of the prior reasons about eye strain and everything like that. If you have Libby, which is the library app where you can borrow ebooks as well as audiobooks, magazines, everything like that is electronic, you can borrow that on Libby. And there are a lot of different titles on there that you can just send straight to your Kindle, whether that's your Kindle app or the Kindle itself. And just having that option to have access to so many different books for free because of your library, it just helps you read so much more on your Kindle and in general, just because you have that option, you know? And it doesn't strain your eyes or anything. And just having that variety is super nice, and you don't actually have to buy the Kindle books at all. If you own a Kindle, you don't actually have to buy the books. That's the beauty of it all. Say you want a little bit more of a selection, especially if you like the Kindle Unlimited romance books. Kindle Unlimited, I believe, is only $5. I believe. Editing me will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's only $5. So if you want a little bit more of a selection, I would say you can even get Kindle Unlimited and you still save money. According to Girl Math, that you are saving money by getting Kindle Unlimited if you want that option and you like the titles on there. You can check the titles on Kindle Unlimited before you actually get it, so I would definitely do that if you are interested in Kindle Unlimited, just because, you know, not everything's on there. Same with Libby, not everything's on there. You do have to do a little bit of double checking before you subscribe to any of these. I mean, Libby's free, so you don't have to pay for that, but for Kindle Unlimited, I would definitely double check before you even purchase that and make sure you do your due diligence. But personally, for me, I have Kindle Unlimited and I feel like it's very worth it for me because I read more than 2 books a month on Kindle Unlimited. If you don't read more than 2 books a month on Kindle Unlimited, I would say it's definitely not worth it. Or a book is more than $5, so maybe if you read over 1 book a month, it would still be worth it. But in my personal opinion, if you don't read at least 2 books or more per month through Kindle Unlimited, it might not be worth it for you, just because you'll more likely forget about having Kindle Unlimited than actually using it. And I don't want you to waste money, you know? I personally, for me, I hate wasting money, so I don't want you to go through that. So, you know, definitely make that discretion on your own, but that's my personal take on that. According to Girl Math, you are still saving money by buying Kindle books on the Kindle store. Kindle books are usually cheaper than regular physical books. In my experience, I don't even know the range, don't quote me on this, but generally it is a lot cheaper. I've definitely bought books that are maybe like $10 on the Kindle store. Icebreakers, for example. Icebreakers in stores, I believe, is like $17. If not, like lowest 15 or 13 I've seen. But I bought it for, I think, like $8.99. So that's still cheaper than buying it in store. Of course, you know, if you want to buy it physically because you want the physical copy, you know, that's a different experience. But if you just want to read the book, like all you care about is reading the book, then you are saving money even through the Kindle store. So I would say by having the Kindle, I have definitely saved money. Generally for me, I don't typically buy a lot of books, so I can't say for sure if that's that's gonna be a big thing for you. But if you are okay with just borrowing things on Libby and reading through Kindle Unlimited, like I would say you would save a lot of money too on Kindle. And it's not even like you can't even buy the books that you want physically either. I feel like for me personally, when I read a lot of ebooks, I tend to only buy the books that I genuinely love. I only really buy books that I'm like very intrigued by when I'm at the bookstore, or a book that I've already read and I plan on rereading because I love it that much. So even in that logic, you're still kind of saving money. Girl math, you know? And I would also say you're saving a lot of time as well. This one really depends on you as a person, but me as someone who's super competitive, even with herself, I'm always trying to race against myself in reading, because the beauty of Kindle, a beauty and a curse, is that Kindle tells you your reading stats as you're reading them based on your reading pattern. So what that means is that it will tell you the percentage that you're at, what page you're at as well, but then it'll also tell you your reading speed, so how long it thinks that it will take you to read the entire book, the entire chapter. And I am competitive. If you tell me it's gonna take 1 hour to read a book, you best believe I'm gonna try to read it in half an hour. Yeah, that's just me as a person. It is what it is. Of course, I'm not gonna like skim read to get there and beat the score, but I'm gonna try my best to try to make it less than the amount that it said that it was gonna be. It might be just a me thing. Also too, I feel like I read more. That's another part about this. I feel like because of the prior reasons, you know, since you're able to bring this around with you everywhere, it's way more convenient to read, and it also shows you the stats. I end up reading a lot more. Way more than I would if I was only like purely a physical book reader. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I feel like if I was only reading physical books, especially if I'm only using the library, barely buying any books, I really wouldn't be reading that much. Granted, I don't have the stats to back this statement up just because I went from a massive reading slump that lasted for years and only really got back into reading in the past few years, like since 2020, 2021-ish. So, you know, I can't give you the pudding and tell you the proof is in the pudding, you know? So I'm so sorry about that, but I feel like I read a lot more with my Kindle. That's just my sense on it, just because I bring it around with me everywhere, and every opportunity that I have to read, I will read. So, you know, I would say those are the biggest things about owning a Kindle. I mean, there's also a bunch of other smaller things like decorating your Kindle. I think that is the biggest thing that a lot of people love about it, is the fact that you can decorate it, customize it, make it your own. It's like a second phone that you can decorate, you know? So that's really fun about it. But now I'm gonna go into the cons. Some of the things that may not be so great about the Kindle, because like every device, nothing's perfect. Like anything in life, nothing's perfect, you know? So I would say the first thing is price. If you buy it full price, it is a little bit pricey. I believe a Kindle Paperwhite, like this exact same one, I believe it's like $150, $170, something like that. It could get kind of pricey. I don't know about other e-readers. Maybe other e-readers are more expensive, but a Kindle, it's expensive. So that's one of the cons. But a great thing about that, a little workaround, is that it goes on sale kind of frequently. For a popular product, I would say it goes on sale a few times a year, especially on Amazon specific sale days. So Prime Day, for example, is the day that I got my Kindle, and I got it closer to $100. $100 is still expensive. I totally acknowledge that. I totally get it. But compared to the original price tag, it was a lot cheaper. So that's when I decided to buy the Kindle. Of course, I already had a Kindle at the time, which I could talk about more in depth, but this is the older 2018 Paperwhite, and it's fine, it's good, but I needed to upgrade. So I upgraded to this, and that's why I bought it on Prime Day back in the summer, and I don't regret it. I love it, so it was definitely worth the price tag for me, but I totally get it if it's not your price tag. Some workarounds, if you don't mind not getting the Paperwhite, some workarounds. I know a lot of people get the kids version, which is a lot cheaper, and it works the same. It literally is the same. Mine is like a couple things, like it has like the raised divots of the actual device. It might be like a little bit laggier than the Paperwhite. I don't really know. I don't have that device. But for the most part, it's exactly the same. So that's a workaround. Another workaround is that since the Kindles usually tend to last a very, very long time, you can buy it secondhand. People are selling it on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Mercury, I'm sure, and other secondhand sellers. So you can buy a Kindle used and it would still be okay. Most people I know, they just put it in a case. So without the case, it's basically brand new. So if you want to just save some money and just get a Kindle, bite the bullet, I would just get it secondhand. And if you don't If you're like me and you don't like having a lot of wires and you literally already have a USB-C and you don't have a micro USB, that's another type of wire that you have to add into your technology, your devices. It's annoying. It's a little frustrating, especially when you're traveling and you have to bring 3 different wires or even 2 if you already have, like if you have an Android and you have a USB-C charging port. Come on, you know? So that's like a minor thing, a minor inconvenience if you get it before this version of the Kindle White, but that's very minor. That's like definitely a first world problem for sure. Like that shouldn't be the reason why you don't get a Kindle, is because of the charging port, you know? And then the biggest con, the biggest negative I would say about a Kindle e-reader is just it's not the same as a physical book. If you're a hardcore physical book reader and you don't really even read e-readers on your phone or your iPad or anything, nothing truly beats the feeling of reading a book physically. I get that. I love reading on a book physically, but if you can get used to reading on your phone, I think you'll enjoy the Kindle, honestly. And it hasn't even stopped me from reading on my book physically. If anything, it's helped me enjoy both of them equally. I don't even know how to explain it, but like I love my physical books and I appreciate them so much. Like I love annotating, I love tabbing. Ignore these top tabs, these are to indicate the chapters when I go back to annotate it later with my Kindle. But like I love annotating, I love highlighting, I love really making a book that I love my own. So I'm not saying a Kindle will ever replace that feeling, but I think it could be a great accompaniment to a physical reading experience. That and everything combined, in my opinion, I think the positives that it brings in my life far outweigh the negatives of having an e-reader. So that's why I really like my Kindle so much. That's why I will always highly recommend it for any readers, like avid readers that don't have an e-reader. I mean, most avid readers I know have a Kindle, but if you don't, I would highly recommend this because it just helps in your reading experience, in my personal opinion. With that being said, I do want to give a few tips if you are gonna get a Kindle, because these are things I wish I had known before I got this Kindle. So first things first, if you're gonna get a pop socket, get a MagSafe one. Get a MagSafe one because then you can remove it and then put it back on. So if you're using like a gooseneck situation to read with the page turner device, so you don't have to like touch it at night and you could just use the remote, this will save you, because if you have the pop socket on, it won't fit. I've learned from my experience and it does not fit. So I would definitely get a MagSafe. Sometimes you're not even in a MagSafe mood. So sometimes I don't even like reading with the MagSafe on. I just like having it out. So yeah, super adjustable. You can really put it wherever you want. I kind of put it in the middle. I kind of regret it though, because I kind of wish I put it one here and one here. But we live and we learn, and it's on a case. So yeah, I can always switch it up. Which brings me to the second point. If you are gonna get a pop socket or anything that sticks onto your Kindle, for the sake of your future sanity, do not do it on your Kindle. Do it on a case. Trust me, I've learned from this mistake. Look at this. Look at this. This is a former sticker, and this is the pop socket. This is the pop socket sticker. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be like me and put it directly. It was, not only is this gross residue on there, which I have to find like Goo Gone or something to get this off, and like this is stained. Literally, quite literally stained, and I have to get another case for it because it's stained. But it was so hard getting this pop socket off. Like when I tell you, the pop sockets will stick on. Don't get it twisted. But at what cost? You know? So I would highly recommend doing it on a case like this, and you could just take out the case. It's no big deal. And even with the stickers, you can switch out the stickers. You don't have to ruin these perfectly good stickers by sticking it onto your actual Kindle. You could just Scotch tape it on and you're good to go. And you could switch it out with every season, decorate it how you please, and you're good. You're golden. So that's my tip number 1. Definitely do that. If you're like me and you read at night and you can't be bothered, I'm warning you, this is a first world problem. But if you're like me, you like being in bed reading, you can't be bothered to either lay on your side and read the entire time, hold it up while you're reading, or anything like that. Or even if you get a gooseneck and you can't be bothered to click on it, I got a tip for you. You want to get these. I will link them for you guys. But they are page turners and they are great, especially if you have a gooseneck. I'm staring at my gooseneck right now, that's why I'm looking over there. But if you get a gooseneck, which I will also provide a link for if you want to look at it, or you could just search up gooseneck stand for Kindle and you'll find it. But it just clamps right onto your nightstand or wherever you want to put it, and you could literally move it around wherever you want. I usually have it like right above me, so then I'm in bed just clicking this away. And that way my hands are literally under the blanket. Especially in the colder months, you can't be bothered. You can't be bothered to expose any single limb that you don't have to expose to like the coldness. You don't have to. Not with this. So I would highly recommend getting something like this if you know you are that type of person. I know I am, so that's why I was very excited about these purchases, and I love them to this day. This might be a controversial take, especially since I own also a plastic cover like this. But if you travel a lot, I would highly recommend getting the case that folds over on top of your Kindle. I have one that I don't use right now, but I will whenever I do travel hardcore, or if I know I have a lot of stuff in my bagoo, which is like my everyday bag, because I don't like the idea of my Kindle scratching. I hate that idea. So having that extra protection, it would be great. So if you know you don't like that, I wouldn't recommend getting this type of case. At least not as your primary case. And you could still decorate that other case, but you actually have to use the stickers. I have another sticker that I had to actually put on the front of that Kindle case, which I could show you a picture of here, but I had to permanently stick that. So you do lose the sticker, but it is what it is. You could still decorate it. I would also say if you're stuck between which gigabyte to get for your Kindle, if you are not listening to audiobooks on your Kindle, like physically on your Kindle, because the Kindle has the capability to connect to Bluetooth and listen to audiobooks. If you don't do that, I would get the lower gigabytes for your Kindle. I've learned from this one because I was like, oh, I need more storage. I read so many books. Yeah, no, ebooks take so little space that you can literally read so many books on your Kindle and you wouldn't even reach the 8 gigabyte mark. Like not even a little bit. Like not even the slightest bit. And you can always remove downloads. So once you read a book, it's not that you're completely deleting it from your collection permanently, but you're deleting the download so it frees up space, like memory wise. So if you're stuck between the different gigabyte sizes, I would definitely go lower if you don't care about that and if you aren't planning to read audiobooks on your Kindle. So yeah, I think those are all the tips that I have. Honestly, it really comes down to whether or not you are okay with reading on an e-reader and if you like the convenience more than reading a physical book. I like the convenience more, so I'm always gonna stand by the Kindle, but it is what it is. Oh, another con, before I forget, another con about reading on a Kindle is that if you read graphic novels, it's not gonna be great. Like, unless you read black and white graphic novels or mangas, those are great. Those are great on here, and you can read them. You can read them. But graphic novels with colors, I would not read on here. Don't do it. Because you're defeating the purpose of that graphic novel, because part of it is the color, the illustration. So if you read a lot of graphic novels and that's your primary book source, don't get the Kindle. Like, the Kindle's not worth it for that reason alone. But if you do read a lot of other books and mangas, then yes, it would be worth it. So yeah. I just had to put that last caveat on there just in case, because I'm also a big graphic novels reader, but I read that on my iPad exclusively. If I read it digitally or physically. So, you know, there is that. But overall, I highly recommend it. If you can't get past the e-reading part, then you are not going to enjoy the Kindle at all. But if you're okay with that, you like the convenience of it, I would say just go for it. Wait for the sale. I would never recommend buying it full price, especially if you don't have the means to do that. Don't do that. But if you can find a sale, I would say go for it. You know, if you can buy it, if that's within your means to buy it and it's on sale, why not? You know? So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you guys also have a Kindle, if you're thinking about it, if you like it, don't like it, everything like that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.